questions, and would just like to point out that among those who were lost to gun violence, according to the FBI statistics, 11,900 something were homicides, and less than 8,200 were related to gun violence. Mr. Ellis, in July of 2015, an illegal foreign national, five-time deportee from Mexico, stole a Bureau of Land Management Ranger's gun and shot and murdered 31-year-old Kate Steinle, who died in her father's arms. How did the shooter manage to steal that firearm?
Well, first of all, Mr. Chairman, very tragic incident. And
just for the sake of time, just answer the question.
My understanding is that the BLM law enforcement officer had that weapon in his personal vehicle that he was driving to Helena, Montana.
Was the vehicle locked, or did they break into it?
It's my understanding the vehicle was locked and it was broken into.
Okay. Are the BLM Rangers required to undergo training for firearm management?
They are.
Okay. Let me point out that they're required to attend special firearm training held by the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. And after the training is complete, the Rangers complete a second field training and evaluation program where they learn the job in several duty locations across the states. Annual and quarterly training is also required for firearms, defensive tactics, physical fitness, and other job skills. In other words, the Ranger is responsible for his assigned firearm. Is that true?
Rangers are responsible.
And other equipment while off duty. Of course, Department of Interior Departmental Manual Part 446, Chapter 10 requires that each law enforcement officer is responsible for ensuring the security of his or her assigned firearm and other defensive equipment while on or off duty. And further, BLM's own manual, handbook 1112-2 on safety and health for field operations, topic 17.6, requires that all firearms, when not in active use, shall be stored in a secure place out of sight under lock and key. Firearms will be unloaded prior to storage. Considering what happened and the tragic nature of events after the theft of the firearm, was that Ranger disciplined?
Mr. Chairman, the Ranger was not disciplined. And
why not? That's in direct violation of your handbook.
After this incident, the BLM investigated why. Myself and many of us want to know, how did this happen? At the time, we did not have a policy in place for POVs. That's personally operated vehicles. We now have a policy in place that
so this policy you're telling me that this manual policy that I just read you was put in place after Kate Steinle was murdered?
No, there's policy, there's a General Order 15 that covers government vehicles.
No, I ask you, I'm asking you, now answer the question. BLM's manual handbook 1112-2 on safety and health for field operations, topic 17.6, was that in place before Kate Steinle was murdered? The answer is yes. I mean, you know your own policy, don't you?
Mr. Chairman, the policy that was in place for personal vehicles essentially required the locking of the vehicle. The individual had the vehicle locked. It was broken into. The firearm was not secured to a hard point in the vehicle.
Was it loaded?
The policy.
Was the firearm loaded?
The policy now requires that.
I'm asking you, was the firearm loaded?
I do not know the answer to that.
Okay, let me ask you this. You say that standard firearms issue for each officer is a semi-automatic pistol for primary duty carry. A semi-automatic pistol is a backup weapon, a shotgun, and a semi-automatic rifle. Would you describe that rifle?
It's a semi-automatic rifle. I cannot tell you.
What caliber?
It's my understanding it's similar to AR-15.
Okay, so it's an AR-15, but the federal inventory does not list that as an assault weapon. It lists it properly so, as a semi-automatic rifle. Is that correct?
But it is a semi-automatic rifle. So
That's right.
My understanding, we have no automatic rifles, no automatic pistols, no automatic firearms in the BLM inventory.
I thank you for making that distinction between what is or is not an assault weapon. I now recognize the gentleman from California, Mr.